Republicans regaining control of the Senate on election night. Our next guest is a top contender to replace minority leader, well, now it's majority if it were to be. As Senate leader, that vote scheduled for next week. Joining us now on the GOP's priorities for next year and beyond, Senator John Thune, South Dakota. He's currently the minority whip, and it's always a pleasure to have you on, Senator. Good morning.
Thanks, Joe. Good morning.
The one thing that we saw pretty consistently prior to Tuesday on the betting markets and even polling was the likelihood that this was going to happen with the Senate, that you would retake the Senate, and so you knew that we knew that Senator McConnell was not going to be Speaker anymore. So we've known that, but some of the other results, Senator, were you surprised at all about the breadth of the win for Republicans and for President Trump, former President Trump, President-elect Trump?
Yeah, right, Joe. I think going into it, if you looked at the polls, obviously everybody expected a tight race, but it was a very convincing, resounding win for President Trump, and literally up and down the ballot. And we outperformed 2020 in 48 states and across all demographic groups, and actually did better in 2,300 countries, or counties, I should say, around the country than we did 4 years ago. So this was, I think, an example that the American people have said enough is enough with the Biden-Harris agenda. They're ready for a different direction for the country, and I think it's really about open borders and high prices. I think those are the issues that animated voters to get out, but it gives us I think President Trump and Republicans in Congress, and hopefully we get not only the Senate but the House, a mandate to do some really good things for this country with respect to the economy and energy and the border and national security. I think those are the issues that we're going to be focused on, and hopefully we'll be able to make some progress and some headway with the coalition, the much broader coalition that's been built out since this election. What's your working number on where you think you'll be? 50, 53, 54? Probably hopeful for more, but... Well, Pennsylvania is going to come home, Joe. I hope that they will call that soon. They should, and Bob Casey should concede there. But Nevada, Arizona still open questions, and I think we would be at 53, obviously, with Pennsylvania, 54 if Nevada or Arizona were to come home. But there's still vote to be counted there. We're certainly hopeful, and our candidates are as well. They've run great campaigns. But either way, we're going to have a substantial working majority in the United States Senate, and that will help us get President Trump's team in place so that they can implement an agenda that is consistent with what he campaigned on and what I think the American people are looking for, and that's addressing the issues that I mentioned earlier. It's so nuanced, and in the House, we don't know what the end result will be, although the betting markets now look like they're predicting that the GOP can hold the House, but it was hard to even say the GOP held the House for the last 2 years. They did, but with the Freedom Caucus and everything else. And the Senate was crazy, too, because you had, Manchin and Sinema, didn't really know what that was. What will this enable Republicans to do? Will it, in having a president in the same party, but a president who certainly is not shy about what he wants to happen? Well, he's almost a whip. He could almost be the whip of the Senate and the House, I would think. Yeah, he is that. Well, look, Joe, I think that if we can hold the House, obviously we have a legislative vehicle available to us called budget reconciliation, which the Democrats used extensively when they had all three. But when you have unified control of government, it gives you an opportunity to do some things. Obviously, we've got to extend the Trump tax cuts, which if we don't, ends up being a $4 trillion tax increase on the economy and almost $2,000 per average family in this country. I think energy policy, I think border policy. If you look at the economic agenda, it's also a regulatory, and the cost of regulation has been $1.8 trillion since Biden and Harris took office. So lighter touch on regulations, again, extending the tax policy, bonus depreciation, interest deductibility, R&D expensing, the things that get you the big growth in the economy. We need pro-growth policies on the economy, and then we've got to, always got to be paying attention to what's happening with respect to national security, because we live in a very dangerous world. So I think those issues are going to be front and center, and if we have unified control of the government, we're in a much better position to enact an agenda that is consistent with accomplishing those goals.
Might be too simplistic to liken the Senate to the House of Lords versus those commoners in the House. I don't expect anything like we saw with that. Well, I don't even that saga. With it finally resulted with Speaker Johnson. But what is going to happen in the Senate for getting the next leader? Do you know right now who's in the best position, and are you whipping votes around? Do you want it?
Well, of course, sure, we're whipping votes, and we've known for many months
where
now
does it
that
sit?
Senator
Do you
McConnell is
have
not
it?
going to run for re-election.
Yeah, do you have it?
Well, I feel good about where we are, Joe, but hey, look, it's a secret ballot election, and it's a very, discerning, small constituency that's going to make that vote. So it's never over till it's over. We're going to have that vote next week and get a chance to hear from all the candidates for that job. It's a big job, and it's one that's going to require a good amount of political courage and ability to be able to get things done. But if we have a unified control of the government, and by the way, I served in the House of Representatives too, so I understand the House and how they view the world. But we've got to be able to find a way to work together as a coalition with President Trump to enact an agenda, because we really have probably a 2-year window. You never know what's going to happen in the next election. We have one every even-numbered year, and so we've got a narrow window.
Is President-elect Trump involved in? Does he have a chosen preference in the Senate? Do you know, Senator? And will that come into play?
I don't. Well, I don't know that he does. I'm staying in regular contact with him and with his team. And, obviously, if he wants to, he could exert a considerable amount of influence on that. But honestly, I think my preference would be, and I think it's probably in his best interest, to stay out of that. These Senate secret ballot elections are probably best left to senators, and he's got to work with all of us when it's all said and done. But whatever he decides to do, that's going to be his prerogative, as we know. But I think we're going to have that election next Wednesday, and we'll have a new leader.
How many other truly viable candidates are there besides you, Senator? 2 or more?
Well, right now, 2. You never know. I mean, more could emerge, but there have been, I think, 3 of us that have been running for this for some time now. So that's kind of the field. And again, we'll see how it shakes out come next Wednesday.
Another election. It's so exciting. We thought we were finished. But
well,
got another one next week. Senator,
well,
thanks.
We all did.
Yeah. Thanks, and hope to see you again soon.
Thanks,
and who knows? We may have a different, be calling you something different, or not. We'll see. Thank you.
Who knows?